Hi, my name is Mohammed Affan, and I'm a student of IIM Trichy, PGPM 25-27 batch. And the topic which I'm going to discuss today is India's job crisis, the growth without work paradox. We are going to look into why India has this jobless growth paradox. So to start with, I want to share that India's GDP grew 7+% annually for over a decade now. Unemployment rose still. So between 2011 and 22, India's economy nearly doubled in size. We grew at rates the world envied, and yet in that same decade, the unemployment rate, the share of working age Indians actually working, has fell. More growth, but fewer jobs. And this is not a paradox that resolves itself. It is the defining economic problem of India's next 30 years, and this is why we are here today. So the question is, why haven't jobs followed growth? Economists Lamba and Subramanian call this incommensurate development. Rapid GDP growth without the structural transformation we would expect. No manufacturing surge, no mass urbanization, no absorption of surplus labor from farms into factories. But why is it so? So here are three structural reasons. First, India's growth has been concentrated in capital intensive and skill intensive sectors. Sectors like IT, sectors like finance, pharmaceuticals, sectors that generate enormous value but employ relatively fewer people. Second, the legacy of the license Raj has stunted manufacturing for India. Decades of small scale industries reservation, labor laws that made hiring permanent workers a liability, and investment controls has kept Indian manufacturing firms small and informal, structurally incapable of the mass employment that drove East Asia's miracle. Third, agriculture still employs 45% of the workforce, producing only 15% of GDP. That gap is not closing fast enough because there is nowhere to educate for those workers to go. And here is what is at stakes. Here is what makes this so urgent of a problem. India adds approximately 10 million people to its working age population every year. We call this the demographic dividend. If but a dividend only pays only if those people find productive work. And if they don't, it becomes a demographic liability. Youth unemployment feeds social instability. Informal, low productivity work traps people in poverty, regardless of agricultural aggregate growth figures. And it fundamentally disconnects GDP from the lived reality of most Indians. And we already see this disconnect. We already see this happening everywhere in India. India has billionaires, India has unicorns, but it also has the largest population of working poor in the world. So the question is, what's the way forward then? So the solutions are known, although it's politically hard. Number one, labor laws reform. Consolidating 44 central labor laws into four codes has already passed, but implementation remains stalled in most states. Flexible hiring without existential exit risk is the precondition for large-scale formal manufacturing. Second, manufacturing push. The PLI scheme, production-linked incentives, is a step, but it favors capital-intensive sectors. The greater opportunity lies in labor-intensive manufacturing, like textiles, like apparel, footwear, furniture, sectors where India competes directly with Vietnam and Bangladesh and is currently losing. Third, education and skilling reform. We cannot connect workers to a modern economy without bridging the quality gap in secondary education and vocational training. But these are not new ideas. They have been on reform agendas for 20 years. The question was never what to do. The question is whether the political will exists to do so before the window closes. India's growth story is real, but growth without jobs is a promise made to GDP, not to the people. I want to repeat this again. Growth without jobs is a promise made to the GDP, not to the people. That distinction and bridging it is the most important economic challenge India faces today.